Hey everybody, it's Elizabeth with Porch Music. I am here to talk to you guys about keyboards. I get the question often, what keyboard do I buy? And that is such a loaded question. I struggle to answer it every single time. So let me tell you some things to consider when you look into buying a keyboard for you and your family. There are 3 sizes of keyboards that are typical in the keyboard world. You have keyboards with 88 keys, like this one, which is the number of keys on an acoustic piano. A proper piano has 88 keys. Some keyboards have that many. Some have fewer. 72 keys is a medium-sized keyboard, and the smaller ones have 61 keys. The number of keys doesn't matter too much. I do encourage more advanced students or middle of the road average student to have an 88 keyed keyboard so they can play more complicated pieces. But if you're just looking for a keyboard for your beginner student, you can get one of the smaller ones. Another thing to consider as you are looking at keyboards is the weight of the keys. This keyboard, this Casio, there is no gap between the top of the key and the front of the keyboard. It goes all the way down there. This means it's weighted. What that means is the keys, when you push them down, it feels like an acoustic piano, like a real piano. There are keyboards with non-weighted keys that are typically 1, lighter and 2, cheaper. But what happens is there's a gap between the top of the key and the bottom of the keyboard here, the bottom of the key bed. So when you push down, it's much easier to push down, but also will train a person when they're playing those type of keyboards, you'll get used to playing lightly and you won't have the same feel. It will be different when you go to play a weighted keyboard or a piano. Another thing you're going to want to look at is touch sensitivity. With a keyboard that is touch sensitive, if you hit a key hard, the sound will be loud coming out of the keyboard. If you touch the key gently, the sound coming out will be soft. It emulates a real acoustic piano. If you don't have touch sensitivity, what will most likely happen is even if you press the key gently, it'll come out loud and obnoxiously. One more thing to consider as you're looking at keyboards is whether or not they have built-in speakers. Some keyboards don't, and that's okay. My keyboard at home does not have built-in speakers, and I went with a high-end keyboard. My reasoning being, when I bought it, I was spending a lot of time on stage leading worship in churches. So I didn't need a speaker because I was already plugged into a sound system. Now that I'm home and not playing with worship teams anymore, I have to plug my keyboard into an amplifier, which is fine, it works great, but you have to purchase an amp as well. There are keyboards with built-in speakers, like this one. So there's no amp required. Now, when you purchase the keyboard, you'll want to make sure you have a few accessories because not all keyboards come with the same features. One of the most important things is going to be a stand of some kind. Now, this keyboard is actually considered a studio keyboard because it has a built-in stand. When you order this one, the stand comes with it. But there are keyboards that don't come with stands. You'll have to purchase that separately. The other thing you'll want to consider that isn't necessary for beginner students but is really handy to have is a sustained pedal. Now, with this studio piano, it comes with a sustained pedal built in. And that's the pedal, when you push it, it makes the tone of the keys ring out. Some keyboards do not come with those built in, so you'll have to purchase one separately. Those come in 2 different styles as well, weighted and not weighted. Similar to your weighted keys, a not weighted pedal is you just touch it very gently and it makes the whole thing sustain. There's not a lot of give to it. A weighted pedal is very heavy and is shaped very much like a pedal on a real piano or on this studio keyboard. And one more thing you're going to want to consider when purchasing a keyboard is how the student will sit at the keyboard. It's best to learn seated when you're playing a keyboard. Eventually, if you become a rock star, you're welcome to stand up. However, let's all be like Elton John to begin with and sit at first, and then we can get excited and jump up. With a studio piano, they have benches available that you can buy, sometimes with the keyboard, sometimes without, sometimes separately. Most of the time, benches and stools for keyboards are not included in the purchase of the keyboard price, so you'll want to take that into consideration as well. Yes, you can use dining room chairs or a hard stool that you have available at your house, as long as you're able to adjust the height of your keyboard so that your arm is at a right angle when you play or when the student plays. Anything you can sit on will work. I do suggest something firm though, and not your living room couch. So I hope you find that helpful, and until next time, we'll see you later.